The Hartley Show is a comic book review program and does not own any of the copyrighted material featured in this episode. All copyrighted material featured will be used as fair use for the purposes of criticism, comment, news reporting, and/or research. Taki. Today on The Hartley Show, we're going to talk about collected editions, Marvel, DC, Independence, and who gives you more bang for your buck. Hey ya! So today we're going to talk about where you get your bang for the buck in the world of collected editions. Now, generally I find that DC overall gives the best when it comes to a value bang for your buck in your collected editions. But of course there are other companies that produce good quality books where you get solid value. So we'll start off talking about the DC comics. Now, I think their trade collected editions are absolutely phenomenal bang for your buck. In case in point, here you got your first trade edition collection of Batman and Robin. Now, you're getting the first, what do we got here? The first 8 issues for $16.99 American and $19.99 Canadian. Now, generally, most comic stores in Canada will give you books at U.S. price. But what that comes to is, what is that? 8 divided into 17. You're getting this basically for $2 an issue as opposed to the $3.99 an issue. One thing I'm particularly enjoying about the DC collected editions is they're collecting their story arcs in these great little formats. All the sort of additional bits in the Night of Owls story, all the additional bits, well actually the entire storyline in this particular case of Teen Titans The Culling, and they're doing a poor job of actually advertising it. Normally what you would get in the case of a story arc like this was you just get the individual trades would collect their parts of the story, but what they've been doing a great job of at DC is including, like I'm saying, all the additional bits into these collected editions. If you wanted to read the Culling storyline, generally what people were looking for was, you would be looking for the Teen Titans issues, the Legion Lost issues, and then the additional bookends. But they collected all in here fantastically. They didn't advertise over this shit though, so you didn't actually know what you were actually looking for. It was almost impossible to find this book on the order forms, and it was hard to distinguish between this and the actual Teen Titans collected editions that didn't include all the additional storylines. But great bang for your buck, and it collects everything. Same with this, which collects everything. I'm repeating myself over and over again because I think this value is great and worth your time. Their hardcover editions, like Justice League of America here, this collects the first 7 issues for $24.99. 7 issues at basically $4 each. That ends up being actually a considerable deal overall, especially considering it's a hardcover. This would have been, what is that, $28 if you bought the issues individually. So in hardcover and collected editions, the one thing that does get lost is the double page spread. In a regular comic book, you wouldn't lose all this information that's being lost in the middle here. Now, DC Comics, they have been doing a better job overall of late of giving you enough space so that you can actually see everything in there, but you really, really have to work this particular page to actually see everything in there, and it's almost impossible in this particular case. Oftentimes, that's not the case. Oftentimes, you will get a good double-page spread. But even if you do get a good double-page spread, the fact that it doesn't lie flat does distort the image, and so you definitely do have more optimal viewing of a comic book in its original magazine format. Now, it's also important to point out that you don't get any digital editions with any of the DC books. While you're getting a great compilation in this particular case, you're not getting what you would get in the world of the Marvel books, which I will get to now. So in the current Marvel Now collected editions, I really like their style of these bad boys. You don't have a dust jacket, you just got the actual art is actually on the hardcover. And while you're not getting any sort of savings, you're getting the first 5 issues here for $25. It's a little bit more. What would that come to? $20 if you bought the individual regular issues. What you do also get is, at the end, you get the inclusion of all the AR that you don't get in the regular books, where it actually breaks it down page by page and what the AR feature is, as well as this digital copy. Although I do find the inclusion of this digital copy really clunky, because what you've got here is a paper stock that's thinner than this card they insert at the end. And not only is this card inserted at the end with a card stock and it sticks out like this, but it's not even, as you can see, the full size of the page, which I found a little, it made reading it a little awkward when I was doing this sort of thing, because there's that tendency, because of the tautness of this, to, as I'm flicking through, just sort of go right to the end. I mean, I'm being a little picky, but I did find it that did take away somewhat from my reading enjoyment, this awkward little thing, as opposed to the little stamp they have in most of the other books. But I do like this overall. It's just not exactly great value. Now, their soft cover, their trade paperback editions, I find hugely disappointing in the sense that you don't save any money. Sometimes it's even a little bit more expensive. In this particular case, you've got issues 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. 5 issues for basically $17, which isn't a saving. Well, I guess it is a little bit of a saving. I think these were $4 each. But the one thing that I like about this particularly is that Wolverine and the X-Men is that they do include, actually, some of the letter columns in the back. Something that most books don't do nowadays, and they almost never include them in collected editions, which always bums me out a little bit. But they've included these particular letter columns that include, or that were written in the character of, I think in this particular case, Cade, whoever that is. Cade Kilgore, of course. So this is somewhat of a value, but I don't find it as good a value as what you get over on the DC side. And it's also important to note that the softcover versions, you don't get a free digital copy, and you don't get the AR. 2 big losses, considering that the price difference between this and the hardcover, I think, is just $2. I don't quite understand why Marvel seems to sort of almost piss on their softcover editions. Now, over on the world of Image, these guys tend to produce great, their first editions, more often than not, tend to come in at $9.99. It's not always the case, but very oftentimes the case, which is great bang for your buck. In this case of Sheltered, you're getting 5 issues for $10, which is obviously an immense savings. 5 issues at $3 each. You're saving $5 on this one, and this is a great read. This particular book, The Astonishing Wolfman by Robert Kirkman, collects the first 7 issues for $15. A great read, and again, great value. And over in the IDW side of the world, you've got typically their books tend to go for about $20. In this particular case, you've got an $17.99, $18 book that collects 4 issues, which again really isn't too much of a saving. I think it's almost exactly the price you'd be paying. What is that? 4 times 4 is 16, so it's $2 more even actually than you would be buying the regular comic price, which I don't find, that weirds me out. I understand why a collected edition should ever be more than the individual issues if it's not a hardcover. But, I mean, IDW does put a lot of value into their collected editions. The stock is good, and they give you all the covers and things like that. I don't agree with the additional price, and you're not really getting bang for your buck, but I do like the collected edition format.
10:30. Go!
Avengers AI, great promise, but horrible. Well, at least boring anyways. Infinity Heist, a little boring. Infinity, this one, The Hunt, the better crossover of the two. Swamp Thing Annual, solid stuff. Nightwing Annual, it was alright. Green Lantern Annual, pretty good stuff. Superman Batman, surprisingly good, love Brett Booth. Cyberforce, now that it's not free, it sucks. Prophet, monthly genius, although it's not that monthly. Damian, Son of Batman, surprisingly good. So, who gives you more bang for your buck? DC, Marvel, or Image, or any of the other independent guys? In my opinion, it's overall DC. Having said that, Marvel is slowly but surely catching up, and Image first editions do tend to give you more bang for your buck than the rest of their trades. As always, thanks for watching, and a giant thanks for Taz for letting us film here. See you next time. Smooches.